Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei was son of Anubis and got betrayed by girls part 2. Before we start, please go support El Diablo Kermisai 666 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Chapter 14 Fields of Reeds. We see Issei meditating. A year and 6 months had already passed on the ship, while in the real world 5 days had passed. In this time, the brown-haired man had already entered the Shin no Sozo no Asatoramendo mode and had already perfected it. He only needed to control his 2 powers, which were creation and destruction. In a year he could already enter the mode without difficulties, and in 6 months he was trying to control his 2 powers. In these 6 months he could already control his powers a little, 80% of his powers. That was something good for him. He said that very soon he could already control his power. The only thing he had to do was make an effort, and this day would be special. Issei in Shin no Sozo no Asatoramendo mode. We see Issei in his mind surrounded by 2 energies, one white and one dark purple. The white energy surrounded half of Issei on the left side of his face, and the other half was surrounded by the dark purple energy. Both energies were calm until the purple energy expanded more than normal, thus cancelling the order that the 2 energies had. The brown-haired man left the mode to see that he was almost missing to control his 2 powers. The only thing he wanted was maximum concentration, so he entered the mode again. 2 days later we see Issei very happy since he had controlled his 2 powers, and that would mean that he was closer to his goal. He was thinking about how he would make his children until someone spoke to him. Issei, what are you thinking? Issei, well, I'm thinking that I'm close to my goal, grandfather. I will soon see my children. I have already mastered my 2 powers at 100%. You're right, but something is missing, Issei, and what is it? It's time for you to create a living being. Issei, and you think I can create a living being? Somewhat worried since it would be your first time creating something. Well, don't let me tell you not to get attached to the living being that you are going to create, since they die after a month. Issei, because they only live for a month. Sai, easy being your first creation does not have what it takes to live there. Sometimes they only live 1 or 2 hours, or sometimes they die when they are born, and that happens because we put things wrong. Sometimes we penetrate more veins, or we put less, or also we do not do well his heart. That is why I made you read books on human anatomy and other beings. The good thing you did in your free time, but well, there you have to train. Issei, okay, great grandfather. The first thing you will do is sit down, but you will sit as if you were meditating. Issei listened. He sat down as his grandfather said. Well, now close your eyes and extend your hands forward. The brown-haired man obeying extended his 2 hands like this in front. Good, now you have a sphere of the power of creation within your 2 outstretched hands. Thus the brown-haired man doing what his great-great-grandfather said. Concentrate on the energy and give it a shape that you want it to have. Issei listening began to give shape to the energy of creation. The brown-haired man began to give shape to his energy of creation in the form of a dragon with 2 tails and 3 heads. Now imagine its exoskeleton, its veins, its organs, its muscles. Issei listening did what his grandfather told him. He imagined his organs, the functions of each organ, his exoskeleton, the veins. The brown-haired man imagined everything that a living being had, their functions, everything. Now imagine the color of skin that you will put on it, its eyes. Imagine everything that a human being or a supernatural being has. So Issei listening imagined what a human being or a supernatural one had. Now give it a style that you think necessary. Issei imagined a black dragon with 3 heads. Each head had a large horn and its sharp teeth. So the brown-haired boy imagined what his dragon would be like. Open your eyes, Issei. When Issei opened his eyes, he could see a black egg. When Issei got up, he could see how the egg broke. When the egg finished breaking, they could see inside the shell a black dragon with 3 heads on each head. He could see some horns. The dragon got up and began to walk like that. Issei, the brown-haired boy, had become excited since he could create a living being until he saw how the dragon walked like that. He carried it in his arms. And what names do you think you will give it? Issei, well, I think I will name it Nato Doragon. Nice name, now let me check if you did your first creation well. So Issei began to see if the creation of his great-great-grandson turned out well. Issei, hey Issei, it turned out well, but you will need more practice since your dragon has more than 3 months left. Issei upon hearing that became sad until Issei spoke to him again. Issei, remember I told you that you will not take honey now as it is again. So Issei began to train again. It has been 2 on the ship of Issei. In these 2 years Issei has been able to enter the Shin no Sozo no Asato Remaindo mode and has already been able to control his 2 powers and has been able to create living beings. In that time Issei has been able to create several living beings, and now he has created more dragons that have lived. On the other hand, he has been able to create various dismissal techniques. One of those is a being in skeletal form, narrator. Imagine Naruto's Susanoo and narrator. That covers Issei from any attack, and if a being gets close it will be destroyed in an instant, and if he concentrates more he can create a gigantic being. We see Issei talking to Issei. Issei, well great-grandfather, it's time for you to go to the reed fields. Issei, so it's time for you to meet your children. So they both went to their Osiris office. In Osiris's office we see the god of the underworld doing paperwork until a magic circle caught his attention, and he could see his father Issei and his grandson Issei. Osiris, if they are already here it is because Issei could already control his powers, right? Serious, since he wanted to know if his grandson had progress. Issei, yes, he can already create living beings. Happy since he could see how his son Osiris was serious about his Issei's progress. Osiris, well then it's time, right? Issei, yes, it's time for my son to revive, excited since he will finally be able to see his children. Osiris, well follow me Issei, I'll take you to the reed fields. Issei, well you guys go, I have to do something. Osiris, okay. Issei just nodded and followed his grandfather Osiris. He guided Issei to a part of the Duat specifically where they condemn humans. Issei could see 12 kings who were giving condemnation, or he would live in the field of reeds. The 12 kings saw Osiris and bowed to Osiris. Osiris, well, as I had spoken to you before, he is my grandson, pointed to Issei, and as you know, he wants to go to the reed fields, so make way for him to pass and return. All the kings said they agreed, so they opened a portal where it would take Issei to the field of reeds. Osiris, well Issei, enter the portal and you will enter the field of reeds. When you enter you will see several souls of people who did noble deeds. Issei, and how will I find my children? Osiris, do not worry, we will take you where your children are and have this device. Issei, and what is the device for grandfather? Osiris, it is so that you can keep the souls of your children. Issei, thanks grandfather. He was happy because he would see his children. Osiris, you're welcome Issei, you are my grandson and I would do anything for you to find your children and be happy. Issei, thank you grandfather. So Issei entered the portal. When Issei saw he was in a very beautiful place, it looked like a large field of wheat and reeds. Issei was going to see more until someone touched his shoulder. When he saw, he was in shock because all his children were there, but the one who touched his shoulder was a thin child with black hair. And he predominantly resemblances to his mother, but he also resemblances to Issei. The brown-haired boy fell to his knees with his eyes full of tears. He could not believe what was happening. He was going to speak until the child who rubbed his shoulder spoke. Child, and who are you? Issei crying, my son, is it you? Child, sir, you are getting confused. Issei, I wouldn't be confused, you have your mother's appearance. The child was surprised but angry when he heard that. The child got angry, and if you are my father, why weren't you here? Issei crying, son, it's not my fault, apart from those behind you, they are also my children. The other children who were behind the child, who were 7 in total, who were behind the child who touched Issei's shoulder, there were 8 children in total, there were 4 boys and 4 girls. Issei, I see that I owe you some money and I will give it to you. But please sit down. So all the children sat around Issei. Issei, well, I am your parents, you 8 children. I didn't know what you were going to do, Dad. The only ones were your mothers. Apparently, they didn't want you to be born just because a person told them not to have them, and they obeyed just because they had their carnal passion. That's why you are here. The boys and girls just started to cry. When they arrived, they were alone with no one around them. They thought they were not family, but this man appears and tells them that he is their father, and that they are brothers. They never imagined that until a child spoke. Child, and if you are ours, why did you come here? Issei, for you they will come with me. The 8 children just stared and just nodded. For some reason they had confidence like that, and apart from his presence was kind, an opponent. Issei was just happy since he would be together with his family. Issei, before we go I have to tell you that you will be newborn since you died before you grew up. They agree. The children just nodded. Issei, well, it's time. Issei opened the device. It had the shape of a skin bag. When Issei opened the bag, when it was opened, it began to absorb all the souls of his children. When it was finished, Issei zeroed the bag. When he did, a portal opened and absorbed him. When Issei opened his eyes, he was in the place where the 12 kings judged the kings. When seeing the grandson of their god bowed, Issei only accepted their bows until someone spoke to him. Osiris, you already have the souls of my great-great-grandchildren. Issei, yes, grandfather, saying it happily since he will be with his children. Osiris, well, follow me, it's time for you to create their bodies. Issei, yes, and where are we going? Osiris, to my office. I already requested some maids for when you create your children. They will be ready to bathe your children and take care of them. Issei, okay, grandfather. So they both headed to Osiris's office. When they arrived, Issei quickly got into the Hoto flower pose to create the bodies of his children. Osiris just sat on a sofa that was there. Issei took out the device that his grandfather gave him. When he opened the device, it released a soul. Osiris, Issei, the device gives you the soul of your first child. It will give you the characteristics of your child so that you can create his body. Issei, thank you, grandfather. So Issei began to mold the soul of his son, and creating his body. When he finished, you could see a child with the facial features of his mother Akeno, and the hair color is the same color as Akeno. He does not even have a physical resemblance to his father Issei. Issei hugged his son. Osiris, you already have a name. Issei, if her name were Kurenai Hyadu. Issei saw how one of Osiris's maids came in, and bowing said, Maid Osiris-sama. Issei-sama, I came for the baby to take care of him. Issei just nodded. Thus he began to create his daughter, Issei's second eldest daughter. When you can see a girl in Issei's arms. Issei, this little girl will be called Hyadu, area girl with facial features of her mother Asia, and the hair color is the same color as Asia, and her eye color is identical to her mother's. She does not even have a physical resemblance to her father Issei. Issei gave the little girl to a maid. Thus Issei began to create his third son, and so the device released another soul with brown hair, began to create the body of his son. Thus Issei spent all day creating the bodies of his children. Chapter 15, An Unexpected Visit. We see Issei creating the last body of his son. At that moment, a servant of Osiris enters to take the child. Issei, he was the last of my children. Osiris, I will finally be able to see my great-great-grandchildren. Issei, yes, thank you for giving me permission to revive my children. Osiris, don't thank me, it's my family, your father, your great-grandfather, and I have decided to give you something. Curious Issei, and he is a great-great-grandfather. Osiris, come with me. So Issei accompanied Osiris. Somewhere in the Dut, we see Issei in a large area with trees and mountains. In some parts you can see some small houses. The area was very large, like the size of a country. What stood out the most was a farm in the middle of the very large area. Osiris, Issei, this will be your land. Here you can bring all the dragons. This land has several magic seals that only you, the dragons, and your family can pass through. Apart from that, it will allege the demons of the Duat. Issei, and the farm. Osiris, the farm is yours. You will live there with your families. And there are several caves on the land for all the dragons. Issei, thanks, Grandpa. Osiris, your father told me that an army will come from him. That army will be yours, and some maids will come as well. Happy Issei, thank you, I really appreciate it. Osiris, you're welcome, Issei. Your children are already at the farm in a room with several cribs. If you want, you can see. Issei, and you won't come? Osiris, I'll go later with your grandfather and father. I also think some people would like to come and live on your farm. Issei, thanks Grandpa. So Osiris left there, leaving Issei alone, who was very happy. The brown-haired boy went to his new house. Hido estate. We see Issei in a room, specifically in his children's room. Each baby was in a crib in a row. Each crib had the name of the babies. Issei approached the crib that said Kurenai Himejima. Was a baby with black hair like his mother Akeno Himejima, and his hair is messy with his father's eyes are like his father's. Issei, when he sees his son, smiles because he is his first child. He was such a beautiful baby. The brown one approaches the next crib that said Eri Haidu. A baby with blonde hair and green eyes was very similar to her mother Asia. The baby slept peacefully. The brown-haired boy went to the other cradle that had the name of Zenkorda. The baby looked like both his father, Issei, and Zenobia. The color of his hair was light blue with a green lock. The baby slept peacefully. The brown-haired boy went to the next cradle that had the name of Shinshido. He was a baby who looked quite a bit like Issei without losing the resemblance to his mother. He also had his mother's hair. He was a very beautiful baby. Then Issei advanced like this to the next cradle that had the name of Helmweich, a beautiful baby. She has her mother's hair and the appearance of both her fathers. The chestnut headed towards the other cradle that had the name of Robertina Haidu. It was a baby that had a predominant resemblance to her mother. Issei looked at the girl sleeping peacefully. It seemed that the maids knew how to do a good job. Issei thoughts, what you girls missed. If you were with me you could enjoy being a mother, but you decided to abort them. With those thoughts he went to the other one who had the name of Exgremery, a baby who has crimson hair and almost all his resemblance is with Rias. Issei. When he saw his beloved son he shed a tear of happiness since he had his children, beautiful sons and daughters. Issei thoughts, Exgremery has the resemblance of your mother. You are beautiful like all your brothers. Issei went to the last cradle that had the name Shuriyuki. It was a baby that had the resemblance to her mother Kaneko. She was the last of her daughters. Issei couldn't let out a smile of happiness since he has all his children and that he hears a knock on the door. Issei, go ahead. Maid, Issei-sama, Anubis-sama, Are-sama and Osiris-sama are waiting for you in the living room. Issei, tell them I'll be right down. Maid, well, Issei-sama. So the maid went to the living room to inform the newcomers that Issei will be down right now. The brown-haired boy leaves the room and takes one last look inside the room and sees the cribs where his children are. Issei just gives a happy smile and closes the door slowly so that his children do not wake up. In the room, you can see Are, Anubis and Osiris chatting and drinking a cup of tea. That's where Issei comes down. Issei, and well, they come to see them, right? Anubis, that's right son, I want to see my grandchildren now. Issei, you can go see them, they are in the room. Quickly, you will notice which is the father room, and Osiris and Are will go see them. Are and Osiris, yes, but then Osiris wants to tell you something. Issei, and he's a grandfather. Osiris, as I told you, well look, the leader of the angels wants to see you and talk to you. Issei, that's what they want. Osiris, yes. Issei, and when do you want to talk to me? Osiris, tomorrow. Issei, tomorrow. Okay, where am I going to see them? Osiris, they will come to my office in the afternoon. Issei, okay, I'll be there. Anubis, son, when will you bring the dragons? Issei, today is the time for all the dragons to be in a separate place, just call them since they are in the dut. So Issei headed outside the estate and activated a magic seal. Upon activating the seal, all the dragons could be seen coming out of a tension circle. All the dragons were there along with Anubis soldiers. Issei created a tower so that all the dragons could see him. All the dragons saw their leader along with the soldiers of Anubis. Issei, welcome brothers, today is a great day since we will have a place to live, and it is here. Today is the day that all dragons live in peace. Today we have a place where we can rest without having to be attacked or bothered. Today we will begin a new era where the dragons show how strong we are. It is time to show that the dragon faction is strong, and that we are still standing for food. Do not worry, there will be plenty. Today is the day that the dragons rise, and this goes the same for the soldiers who join me. You are already of the dragon faction. It is time to show that we are strong. All the dragons roared and released fire from their mouths. while the soldiers who are from Issei gave a loud shout and raised their spears into the air. All the dragons looked for their new home while some soldiers went to their new home that their new boss gave them. Issei came down from the tower and destroyed it. Osiris, a good speech, you have the gift of being a leader. Issei, you think so, Grandpa? Osiris, yes. Anubis, hey son, my grandchildren look a lot like their mothers, haha. Issei, it's because they were like that, father. Anubis, yes, but they are very beautiful. If your mother were here, she would be very happy to see that she is now a grandmother. Issei, I know, father, she would be happy to see that she is already a grandmother. Issei, I'm glad you're with your family now. Issei, this wouldn't have been possible without you, great-grandfather. Haha, don't thank me. Anubis, well, Issei, we leave you so you can command your faction. Issei, okay, cool. See you later. So each god went to his farm. Issei went to his farm because he had to do something. Issei, Albion will create your body, do you agree? Albion, yes. Issei, and you Drake? Drake, no, buddy, I'd rather be with you. Issei, thanks, partner. So Issei created Albion's body. When it was over, you could see a white egg. When Issei was going to grab the egg, it began to slowly break from the shells. You could see a white dragon with blue eyes. Drake, ha ha ha, it's a white lizard. Albion, hearing that, grabs and bites Issei's finger. Issei, ouch, why are you biting me and I didn't tell you anything? Albion just ignored Issei. Issei sighed, well, it's time for us all to go to sleep. So Issei went to sleep in his room. The next day you can see Issei and Anubis. In both you can see that they are carrying a baby. Issei had X Gremory while Anubis had Kurenai Himejima. Around them you could see several strollers where the other babies were sleeping. Anubis, they are brothers when they sleep. Issei, yes, father. Anubis, son, it's time for you to put more dragon kings. Issei, I've been thinking about it, father, but you're right, it's time to put both dragon kings. Anubis, son, it is time for you to meet the leader of the angels. Issei, it's true, I was forgetting, father, I entrust my children to you. Anubis, okay. So Issei headed to his grandfather's office. Osiris' office. In the office you can see two people sitting on a sofa. One. It was a man and the other person was a woman. The man was Michael, the leader of the angels. And the woman was Gabriel, the most beautiful seraph in heaven. Issei entered Osiris's office. Issei, and well, why did Michael want to see me? Downo. Michael sighed, you can stop pretending. Issei, excuse me. Michael, Issei, I know it's you. When Michael said that, Gabriel stood up from his chair. Gabriel, what are you saying, bro? You must be joking, right? Michael, no sister, he's Issei. Issei, excuse me, but you're confusing me. Michael, I don't know what you are. Gabriel, Issei-chan, yes, it's you. Author's note: Issei wears the costume from chapter 10 of the treaty without any further interruption following the chapter. Issei sighed, I see that they already discovered me. Hearing that, Gabriel grabs and scales like Issei. Gabriel, Baka, I thought you weren't here anymore, why did you do that? Issei, sorry Gabriel, I had to keep my identity hidden. Gabriel, why didn't you want to see me? Issei, it's not that, Gabriel-chan, it's for another reason. Gabriel, what reason? Issei, after a while Gabriel-chan told you VA. Gabriel, okay, Issei-chan. Before Gabriel could speak, he was interrupted by a cough. Michael, cough cough, well, it's good to know that you're still alive, Issei. Issei, I think so, and well, why did you want to talk to me? Michael, I wanted to apologize for what Irina did. Issei, and you think that with an apology everything is fixed? Osiris, it would be good if I let you three talk alone. Issei just nodded and Osiris left the office. Michael, I know that an apology won't fix anything. Before Michael could continue speaking, Issei interrupted him. Issei, exactly, An apology doesn't fix anything. What Irina did is unforgivable. I don't know why she's still in heaven if she should have fallen when she betrayed me and killed her son. Michael, if I removed her from heaven, I would have problems with the other factions. Issei, it's the stupidest thing anyone has ever told me. You really are the leader of heaven. Michael, hearing that, just looks down. Issei, I know it hurts. They are Wukong, rookies 4, nobility Serorg Bale. Nobility seek Vera Agars, Tobio accused, and you long left the DXD group. That's true. Michael, yes, why do you ask? Issei, I just ask, tell me why Asia Argento and Zenobia Quarta can pray since they have committed sins. Michael, it's for the same reason. Issei, they really chose you as the leader of heaven. I can't believe it. Michael, the kindest and most feared man, is a pathetic person. You know, Michael, you are the leader of the angels. You can do whatever you want with them when they break the rule. Do you think what Irina, Asia, and Zenobia did is okay? Michael, no. Issei, exactly, it's not right. That's why they should be punished. Michael, you're right, Issei. I've lowered my hand a lot. It's time to come out a little strict. What am I going to do? Zenobia and Asia will stop praying while Irina will stop being my ace. Issei, I see that you have rigor. Michael, thanks for helping me. Issei, don't worry. Before Issei spoke, a communication circle appeared. Anubis, son, come quickly to your house. We have information about something. Issei, it's okay, cool. Thus ending the culmination. Issei, well, I think you should accompany us. We have to go see my father at my house. Michael and Gabriel nodded and left with Issei to the Haidu estate. Chapter 16 New Dragon Kings. Haidu Estate. We see Issei with Michael, Gabriel, and Anubis talking in a large room. In the room you could see two statues. One was of a dragon, and the other of a person with a dog face. Anubis, son, we have information about something. Issei, and what is father? Curious about what his father would say. Anubis, we have information. We know what the next movements of our enemies are. Issei, and what are they, father? Anubis, well, let's say that they have already advanced in a part of their movement. Issei, and what did they advance? Anubis, they poisoned Yasaka and are going to attack the Yokai. Issei, angry, those sons of hitches, how dare they? Anubis, Issei, we have to do something, since if they attack the Yokai leader we will be a little weakened. Issei, you're right, father. I think it's time for it to come to light and gather the dragon kings and add more dragons. Anubis, son, and who will be the new members of the dragon kings? Issei, I have 5 in mind. They are powerful. Michael, Anubis Dano knows when to attack the Yokai faction. Anubis, in 6 days they will attack. Michael, that is a bad thing. Issei, yes, it is a bad thing. Michael, Dano, I want you to hold a meeting in 2 days. Michael, okay, Issei, in 2 days the meeting will be held, but where do you want the meeting to be? Issei, it will be held here on my farm. Michael, okay, I will retire to inform the other leaders. Gabriel, are you coming? Gabriel, no brother, I want to stay with Issei-chan. Michael, okay, Issei, take care of my sister. Issei, okay, don't worry. So Michael left from there to inform the others. When Michael left, Issei spoke. Issei, it's time we talk to the Dragon Kings. Gabriel, go to my room to rest since I will have a good talk. Gabriel, okay, Issei-chan. So Gabriel went to Issei's room being guided by a maid. So Issei makes the magic circle the Dragon Gate, thus appearing the 5 great dragons. The first was Tiamat, Yulong Vitra in Spectrum Mode, Midgard Sormer and Fafnir. Tiamat, and what are we doing here looking around the room? Issei, I called them. Upon hearing that, the 5 dragon kings turned around and were surprised. Yulong, I see that you are still alive. Issei, that's right, and I think you know why you are here, right? Midgard Sormer, no, and what do you want? Issei. Issei, as you can see, I am the heir of the dragons. I am the new leader. Vitra, what does that have to do with it? Issei, easy, it is time that we put 4 strong dragons with the title of Dragon King. Yulong, and who will those 4 dragons? Issei, easy 4 of them are punished by a person. Tiamat, and they are strong, they are begged to see Issei. Issei, that's right, they are strong, and it's time we have more strong kings. Midgardsormr, you're right. Issei, well, it's time we call them. The 5 dragon kings just nodded. Issei created the magic circle Dragon Gate again, Dragon Gate. When Issei created the circle you could see 4 dragons. Issei, well, I present to you the great dragon, the yellow dragon, the black dragon and the pearl dragon. Tiamat, impossible, how did you get the 4 dragons out of their punishment? Issei, easy, I replaced them with some stones. Fafnir, you know that if the Jade Emperor finds out he will be very furious. Issei, I know, but he does not have the right to do what he wants with the 4 dragons since they did a very kind, and if you try to attack them you will suffer the Jade Emperor. Yellow Dragon, thanks Issei-sama for saving us. Issei, it's nothing, remember I am of the same species. The 9 only nodded. Issei, well, the 4 will have the title of the 4 Dragon Kings. The 4 dragons only nodded. Issei, and well, since we are gathered here I have to tell you something. Midgardsormr, and what is it? Issei, in 6 days they will attack the Yokai faction. I want you to be ready for that day, but before, in 2 days we have a meeting with the other factions to tell you, so the Great Dragon and Tiamat will go with me as bodyguards, and Yellow Dragon and Midgardsormr will take care of my children. The 9 dragons were surprised to hear that Issei had children. Tiamat surprised, Issei, you have children? Issei, yes. Fafnir, and where are they and who are their mothers? Issei sighed, well, my children are in their English rooms, and as you know I was cheated on by my ex-wives who are Rias Gremry, Akeno Himejima, Asia Argento, Zenobia Quarta, Rosweiss, Kaneko Tojo Yi Irina Shido. The 5 dragon kings nodded while the other 4 were wondering who they are. Issei, well, they are the mothers. My children are Kurenai Hyadu, Aries Zen, Shin, Helmwige, Robertina, X, Shiryuki, all of them are my children, the Hyadu family. Fafnir, and how did I not know that Issei was pregnant? Issei, because they aborted them, but I had to revive them. All the dragons were in shock. Midgardsormr, really, they did that? Issei, yes, but well, I already have my children. I had planned to leave them their mother's last name, but that would be a gift for them, but they don't deserve it. Tiamat, you're right, they don't deserve to be a mother. Issei, yes, but well, the past is past, the only thing is to live the present. Midgardsormr, you're right. Issei, this meeting is over, you can leave. Tiamat, Issei, you wouldn't mind if I stayed the night with you? Issei, no, if you want you can live here. Tiamat, really? Issei, yes. Tiamat ran and gave Issei a big hug. Each dragon left the room except one that disappeared to return with its carrier. Issei and Tiamat went to the room to rest since in 2 days there will be a meeting. 2 days later. We see a brown-haired man putting on a suit with a dog mask. Tiamat, it's time, right? Issei, yes, it's time to come out into the light. Maid, Issei-sama, the leaders are waiting for him in the meeting room. Issei, I'll be right there. Minutes before. All the leaders are wondering why Issei held the meeting. Only one leader, the angels, knew what was happening. Searches, they know why we are here at this meeting. Odin, I do not know, but surely it is something important. Azazel, you are right, old man, it is surely something important. Azazel was going to continue talking until the doors of the room opened and Issei, could be seen. Issei, I see that everyone is here. Silos quotes, here it is because we have a problem. Zeus, and what is the problem? Issei, easy, our enemies are trying to attack the yokai. Azazel, and how do you know that information? Issei, my father's informants gave that information, and how do they know if they attack the yokai faction we will lose power when Cthulhu awakens? Azazel, good, and when to attack in a carefree manner. Issei, in 4 days and apart. We have received reports that the yokai leader, so I put some soldiers who know about science to work on an antidote. Azazel, hey boy, the antidote is impossible to make since we tried to do but it doesn't work. Issei, I already know, but the antidote can be made. We only need the blood of Yulong and Sun Wukong. Searches, but we don't know where it could be. Issei, smiley face, don't worry about that, I can find it since we were partners. Odin, partners, what do you mean, boy? Issei, old man, I see that you haven't recognized me. Odin, I'm sorry, boy, but I don't know you. The only time we saw each other was the last meeting. Issei, seriously, old man, ha ha ha, well, I think it's time for me to take off my mask. So Issei taking off his mask. When the brown-haired man did that, everyone present was in shock. Searches, Issei, it's you. Issei, that's right, Searches, it's me, Issei. Penemu, Issei, it's really you. Issei, that's right, Penemu-chan. Penemu lunged at Issei like that, giving him a big hug. Issei, Penemu-chan, you aphasia me. Penemu, sorry, Issei-chan, shedding a few tears since she thought Issei was dead or kidnapped. Odin, Issei, it's really you. Issei, yes, old man. Before the two continued their conversation, someone interrupted them. Rias, and what are you doing occupying a place that does not belong to you? Tiamat, who was behind Issei along with the great dragon, spoke. Tiamat, how dare you speak to Issei like that? Rias, I speak to him however I want. With that, he will not be able to do anything to me since my husband is strong and will defend me. Great dragon, ha ha ha, that's what you think, girl. Let me tell you that your husband will not have the big balls to make an emperor angry. Searches, how Issei made an emperor angry. Issei sighed, you know, I think the Jade Emperor will be angry right now since he released 4 dragons that were punished by Odin. And who are these dragons? Issei, you know the story of the 4 dragons. Rias, and what is the importance of that? Issei, what I expected. I think Rias Gremry doesn't know about Chinese culture. Let me and I'll tell you a story. Menstruation hair. Searches, hey noble, say that to my sister. Tiamat, you shut up, shitty Siscon. Issei, calm down, I can continue with my story. All the leaders nodded. Issei, well, where do I start? I already know where. This one in particular says like this: a long, long time ago, when on Earth there were still no threads of water from the rivers or reservoirs of the lakes, when only the Eastern Sea was alive, when the Earth was still Pangaea, 4 dragons lived there: the Great Dragon, the Yellow Dragon, the Black Dragon, and the Pearl Dragon. It is said that the dragons flew low over the sea to the blue sky and began to play with the clouds. Endowed with intelligence and mystical magic, the dragons saw from the sky while they played a disturbing image of the earth. Under the Pearl Dragon, hundreds of meters from the air to the ground, there kneeling an old woman with gray hair among the crowd with a baby in her arms, prayed, God of heaven, send us rain soon so that our crops are prosperous and we can feed our children. Please do not abandon us. After many months of drought without rain, the dry crops withered like dried flowers, the land barren and cracked by the scorching sun. The Yellow Dragon said that these people are poor, they will perish if the rain does not come. The Great Dragon agreed, also said if it does not rain they will not survive the winter. So together they proposed to go ask for help and prayed to the Jade Emperor to make it rain. The Almighty Emperor lived in the Palace of Heaven and was in charge of the Kingdom of Heaven and its affairs. When he saw the dragons arriving from the Eastern Sea, he replied to them, Why do you come to my kingdom? Is that any way? To which the Great Dragon said, The land is barren, the crops dry like straw, the water is gone and is destroying all kinds of life. I beg you to shake the lightning and thunder from the sky, filling those clouds with clear water, and let the raindrops fall on the earthly soil. The Emperor nodded and said that if they returned and did not bother him any more the next day, he would send rain. So the 4 dragons went happily to the sea. But as the days went by, not even a drop of water arrived. The people who were already begging without having to eat, some ate even the mud on the ground, roots and everything they had at hand, others died of hunger. Seeing this, the dragons thought that the Great Emperor would never help the people, so they decided to come up with a plan to help the people themselves. Looking at the immense ocean, the Great Dragon said that he had found the way. The other 3 said, But what is that solution? Come on, tell us. The Great Dragon said, We will use the water from the sea, pushing it towards the sky to fill the clouds so that they will discharge it on the earth. If the Emperor finds out, we will have problems, but we cannot wait any longer. Encouraged by the great dragon, the black dragon and the pearl dragon began to fly from the sea, opening their mouths and filling them with water. Then they went up to the sky to release it like clouds. They came and went so fast that the sky turned gray and darkened and the water began to reach the land. The people celebrated this blessing with great joy, and nature took advantage of it well because the crops regained their color and life expectancy. Meanwhile, the sea god informed the emperor, and he became very angry. He said, "How dare these terrible creatures meddle in my affairs?" and he ordered the guard to arrest them. They were soon arrested and taken to the palace. The emperor ordered the mountain god to bury the dragons under 4 mountains so that they could never escape. As they were also magical, the dragons imprisoned forever decided to emerge from the top of the mountains, converted into winding rivers that crossed thousands of lands and valleys to help the people of the place forever and ever. Thus is born the legend of how the 4 great rivers of China were formed: the Heilongjian, Black Dragon, in the north, the Huanghe, Yellow River, in the center, the Changjiang, Yangtze, or Great River, in the south, and the Zhujiang, Pearl, much further south. All the leaders are in shock. Azazel: "So you released the dragons?" Issei: "That's right, maybe the Jade Emperor will come to kill me." He said it calmly, since the Jade Emperor would be smart not to attack him. Searches: "I can't believe it, and the dragon behind is the Great Dragon." Issei: "That's right." Searches: "And where are the other 3 dragons?" Issei: "They are taking care of my children." All the leaders were in shock. Chapter 17 Revelations. There was a great silence in the room since Issei had said that a dragon was taking care of one of his children. Serzex: "Wait, how do you have children?" Issei: "Like haha, you want me to explain how I had Hex or what?" Serzex: "That's not what I mean. What I mean is, since when do you have children?" Issei: "As I told you, it would be since 3 days ago." All the leaders were in shock. Azazel: "And who are your partners?" Issei: Issei: "Partner, haha, I have not had a partner." Odin: "If you don't have a partner, who are the mothers of your children?" Issei: It would be women. Who are there?" pointing at Rias and her nobility. Serzex: "Wait, are you saying that they have a child with you?" Issei: "That's right." Rias: "It's a lie. I would not have a child with someone as weak as you. I don't know what it was that I noticed you, since you are good for nothing." Issei: "You're done with your pathetic insult." Rias: "How dare you talk to me like that? You know that I am the younger sister of the Mao, and you have to show respect like that to me." Issei: "Ha ha ha, it's a joke. The one that has to show respect is you, since you are offending a leader of a faction, and you are offending the son of a god." And to answer your question, Serzex, I think Rias Gremory told you that she was pregnant, but because of such a weak being she aborted it rather than since all her nobility. Serzex: "Now that I remember, that was true." Issei: "Exactly, so I gave myself the need to revive my children." Azazel: "How can that not be possible?" Issei: "You forget who I am." Michael: "Issei, why didn't you tell me anything?" Issei: "I didn't have the need." Rias: "I don't think they are my children." Issei: Well, I will give you proof." Issei: With a snap, a small dragon appeared. Issei: "Red, inform Yellow Dragon and Midgard Stormer to bring my children and that the maids help them, please." Red: "Okay, Issei-sama, I told them." So the little dragon went to tell the 2 dragon kings. Zeus: "So hi to Issei, I would like to talk to you later." Issei: "Well, okay." Odin: "And tell me, boy, what did you do to revive your children?" Issei: "I had to control my 2 powers that I have. Apart from that, I have improved with the 2. Azazel: "So you can create anything?" Issei: "Yes, but I can create a living being." All the leaders were surprised by what Issei said. They came out of shock when they heard the door open. You can see 2 dragons, and they recognized one Midgardsormr. Behind the 2 dragons you could see 8 maids. One of them had a lump. Issei: "Well, I see that you have arrived." Yellow Dragon: "That's right, Issei-sama." Michael: "They are your children, right, Issei?" Issei: "That's right, I introduced my children to them." Each maid showed the baby they had in their arms. In the Gremory group, each girl could see the babies and they could see the death they had. The girls felt great pain seeing their children in their chest until they began to cry. Rias: My babies while approaching X. Akeno, my son while Asia did the same as laughs. All the girls did the same as Rias and Akeno, but something stopped them in their tracks, and it was a yellow dragon, yellow dragon. What are you doing? Rias, what don't you see? I want to hug my son, crying since seeing her son. Well, she felt pain and wanted to go hug her son. Issei, angry and giving off an aura of death. Your son, don't say stupid things since you aborted my son, you and those hitches, just because of an idiot who is not worth it, the one who did not sacrifice anything, the one who did nothing for you. The one who just gave him hex for pleasure and not for love. Do you think you have the right to call them son? You the people who killed them? Well, no, you have no damn right to call them children. You committed a sin. You have no right to be a mother if you did that with your children, and imagine if you had another child you would do the same. Rias, we have the right to be their mothers. Issei, laughing, haha, don't make me laugh. You and the others have no right to be called mothers. Akeno, yes, we have the right. We are their mothers. Irina, that's right, and even if you don't want to, you will give us our children. Kaneko, and besides, if they stay with you, they will be weak. Issei, it's a damn joke. Zenobia, we don't want our children like that. Vali can train them. Vali, it may be with that, those brats will be nothing without me. Issei, angry, shut up, damn shitty bastards, you will not take my children. Vali, if you do not give us your children by good, it will be by bad. Issei, what is it for the bad ones, and who will come to take my children from me by bad means? I will guess you will be your Vali. Vali, that's right, I will show you who I am. Apart from that way, I will be able to defeat a weak god. Great dragon, poor child, rest in peace. Tiamat, well, I think there will be a burial today. Yellow dragon, and to think that he was the bearer of Albion. Midgardsormr, I hope it doesn't hurt him much. Issei, well, there will be a fight. Issei made a magic seal of teleportation, thus appearing in a large combat arena. Issei, well, what does this begin? Said Issei. Issei was placed at one end and Vali on the other. On the field you could see stands. In the stands you could see Michael, Gabriel, Penemu, Azazel, Odin, Thor, Zeus, Cerzex, Graphi, Sona Citri and her nobility, Serorg Bale nobility, Sigvera Agar's nobility, Vali team, Tiamat, Yellow Dragon, Pearl Dragon, Great Dragon, Midgardsormr. While the maids who had the baby stayed at the Hayato estate. Issei, are you ready to die? Vali, I beat you last time. Issei, ha ha ha, I already disliked the last time. This time it won't be like the last one. Look at my power, and how powerful I am. I will defeat you with 2 techniques. Vali, ha ha ha, don't make me laugh. When I beat you, I will take your children and the women you have. Issei, we'll see that. Vali launched himself against before he touched Issei the missing. Issei, claw of the 100 dragons of hell. Large purple claws that gave off a radiant heat appeared above Vali. The latter created magic circles as shields. When the large claws collided with the circles, they shattered the magic circles, thus impacting with Vali the 100 claws, causing great damage. His entire body was in tatters, his skin was burned. Issei, be thankful I didn't put enough energy for you to die, but it's time for you to suffer something. Issei stretched out his hand and said, Hellwolf. When Issei said that, a black wolf with purple and purple flames appeared on the battlefield. In the stands. Cerzex, what is that wolf? Odin, I don't know, but it looks intimidating. Michael, it gives off a great heat around it. Rias, Oni-sama thinks Vali is good. Cerzex, I doubt it. If the first attack was destructive, the second will be worse for Vali. Anubis, and that's nothing. If he comes out alive, he will suffer some big wounds and cannot recover. Zeus, and since when are you here? Anubis. Anubis, it's been a while since the fight started. Azazel, so you've been here all this time watching the fight? Anubis, that's right, I knew that a spoiled girl with menstrual hair, and anyone they want to take my grandchildren, and I came to see if it was true. Rias, hey, I don't have menstrual hair. Cerzex, Anubis Downo, I asked you please not to say that to my sister. Anubis, and what will you do to me, Siskan? Cerzex, I remind you that I am in the top 10 powerful beings. Anubis, And I remind you that those are titles apart from what I am right in what I said, and if your sister and her nobility want to take my grandchildren, the demonic faction will have problems since we have a great army. Xerxes remained silent and Better continued watching the fight. With the fight. Issei, are you ready to suffer? When Issei said that, the wolf quickly launched itself so Vali could only watch as it left a trail of purple flames. The wolf quickly began to enclose Vali in a circle of purple fire. When Vali realized, he tried to escape from there, but the wolf prevented him. Issei, it is useless to run away unless you kill the one who made the wolf, but that will be impossible as long as you remain in the circle of fire of hell. The heat will increase, and the wolf will begin to attack you. Said and done, the wolf began to attack Vali with scratches and bites. Issei, it is time for this to end, as he extended his hand and then closed it with a blow. By doing that, the wolf took a bite and attracted the purple flames, making a tornado of fire that would then explode in the stands. All the leaders saw that technique, and were scared, since from there where they were they could feel the great heat, and could not imagine the great pain that Vali is going to have. On the battlefield, a crater could be seen. In the middle of the crater you could see Vali with mature all over his body. His clothes he was wearing were no longer the only thing that could be seen were ashes. The leaders left the stands along with the companions they had, and they were approaching the crater. When they approached, they saw Vali very injured until someone spoke to him. Issei, that will happen to the person who wants to take my children away from me, and you, pointing to the nobility of Rias, along with her, will be punished for your sins. You will not be loved by your children that you may have will be despised, and your 100 children that you have will die at birth. Michael, Irina Shido, you will be expelled from heaven and will no longer be my ass, and you too, Zenobia Corda, and Asia Argento, will not be able to pray Gammas, since you three have committed sin. The three girls began to cry. Irina, please Michael-sama, do not do this to me. Michael, you would have thought that when you cheated on your fiancé and murdered your son, and that goes for you too, thanks to your stupidities, put the system in danger. The three girls could only cry while being comforted by the Gremry nobility. The leaders who were just listening were surprised by the curse that Issei put, and what Michael did. Issei, well, we can continue with the meeting. Those present there except the nobility of Rias and Irina and Vali nodded. Asia began to heal Vali. That was when Issei created a magic circle to appear in the room before. Issei, well, as you know, we have a problem. Xerxes, and what is that? Issei, we need a strong group. Azazel, we have the DXD group. Issei, a weakened group. Azazel, well, you're right, so what do you recommend? Issei, create a new group. Odin, sounds like a good idea. Zeus, the old man is right, it's a good idea. Issei, well, I want each leader to put one from their faction in this group. Xerxes, I put the Citri nobility, the Baal nobility, and Agars. Odin, I put my son Thor. Zeus, I put Athena. Azazel, I put Tobioicus. Michael, I put Dulio Gesualdo, my joker. Anubis, well, I put my son Issei, Batet, and 2 other people who will present themselves tomorrow with Issei. Issei, I put Yulong, and I think Tao may join Sun Wukong too, Tiamat, Midgardsormr, and the Great Dragon. Rias, brother, why didn't you put us in? Xerxes, you are already in a group. Issei, well, the base of the new group called the Golden Path will be here at my house. So tomorrow come here again to see who will be the leader of the group, and do not forget to bring the people who will join the group. All the leaders nodded. Each leader began to leave except one. Zeus, brat, we have to talk. Issei, okay, what do you want to talk about? Chapter 18, Golden Path. Zeus, brat, we need to talk. Issei, okay, what do you want to talk about? Zeus, well, brat, as you know, my faction owes a favor to the Egyptian faction. Issei, yes, I know, it left when Typhoon defeated you and the other gods came to ask us for help with Hermes. Zeus, exactly, brat, when Typhoon appeared everything went to shit. Different gods attacked Typhoon, but it was in vain. He was very strong, so I asked Hermes to come with your grandfather when he was previously the king of Egypt, so that he would leave the gods of Olympus in his care and protect them. Your grandfather has a good heart, and he accepted, and I stayed to fight Typhoon. That was when Athena arrived and helped me. That was when Typhoon caught me hostage and Athena had to flee. Typhoon ripped out my tendons thanks to Hermes, who was able to steal the tendons, and thanks to him being poisoned I was able to defeat him. Issei. I know the story. Zeus, my grandfather Ra told me when I was training with him. Zeus. I know, and I spoke with Ra and your grandfather as well as your father, and to pay them back that favor I decided something. Issei. And what does that concern me? Zeus. Easy to pay back the favor I asked them. I decided to marry my daughter Athena to Tygo. Issei surprised. Wait, why with me and why not with someone else? Zeus. Easy, you are a good-hearted boy and you do things for people. Before I had thought of getting engaged to Aphrodite. Issei surprised. Aphrodite, the goddess of love. Zeus. That's right, boy, but I thought about it a lot and better not since Ares is her new husband. Issei. How good, then I'm engaged to Athena. Zeus. So apart she will come to live with Tygo. Issei sighed. Okay, what else does she care? Zeus. Issei, I know that very soon you will have a new harem. Issei. And who told him that? Zeus. Nobody told me. I have seen how several women have been looking at you at this meeting you had, and I know that more will join. Issei. That's what I see. Zeus. That's why I asked you to take time to get to know Athena, the same with your other girls. Issei. I'll keep it in mind. Zeus. Apart from that, I have another gift for you since you're going to be part of the Zeus family. He took out a sickle from his tunic. Zeus, you know this weapon, right? Issei. How could you not know a weapon of that caliber, the sickle of Cronus, the weapon that castrated Uranus? Zeus. Exactly, this weapon is now yours. Issei surprised. Really? And why are you giving it to me? Zeus. I'm giving it to you because I know it will be more useful to you than to me. Issei took the sickle from Zeus's hand. Issei. Thank you very much, father-in-law. Zeus. Ha ha ha, I think we'll get along very well. Issei. I think so. English. Zeus. Brad, Athena will come to live with Tygo. Apart, Ares will join the Golden Path group. Issei. Ares will join. Zeus. Yes, I think he would like to fight with a strong person. Issei. It's fine with me. The more people enter the Golden Path, the more likely we will have to protect the peace of the factions and be able to face what is coming. Zeus. Well, Brad, I have to go to inform Ares and Athena of this. Issei. Okay, father-in-law. Issei shook his hand with Zeus's, so the latter left, if not before he says something to Issei. Zeus. Much when this is over, something will come to interrupt the peace. With this last thing, Zeus disappeared through a magic circle. Issei. Drake, you know what Zeus said? Drake. No, partner. Issei. Well, I think I'll go see my children. Drake. Before you go, that sickle would go well with the sword that Bat gave you. Issei. That's true, it would be a good combination. Before Issei continued talking to Drake, a maid that his father gave him entered. Maid. Issei-sama, bowing to Issei. Issei. What do you need? Maid. 2 people are waiting for you. Issei. I'll be right. Their maid. Okay, Issei-sama. Thus the maid left. Issei. Drake, who do you think they are? Drake. I don't know, partner, better go see. Issei, listening, went to see who were the people who were waiting for him. When Issei arrived in the living room, he could see 2 people he knew. Issei. Uncle Horace, what are you doing here? Horace. I can't come see my nephew. Issei. Yes, and it's a pleasure to have you as well as you and Hathor. Hathor. Thank you, Issei, and you, baby. Issei. In your room. Horace. Issei, we came here to do a tradition. Issei. Tradition. Horace. Yes, Issei, you will see my wife has to breastfeed the children of some of our family. Issei. I see, it is so that she has thoughts of a true king, right? Hathor. Exactly, Issei, they have to have the thoughts of a worthy king. Issei. Okay. Issei called one of his maids to take Hathor to the baby's room, thus staying Horace and Issei. Horace. Nephew, I knew what those demons tried. Issei. Really? Horace. Yes, and you did well to curse them, but why didn't you do the same with that demon? Issei. You speak of Vali. Horace. That's right. Issei, even if you don't believe it, I already cursed him. Horus surprised, really, but when? Issei, I think you saw the fight I had, right? English, Horus, rather we saw it all over Egypt since your father broadcast it throughout Egypt. Issei, seriously, haha, I never imagined that from my father. Horus, that's right, we saw everything and those skills you did were totally strong. Issei, true that, yes, and that I did not show all my skills. Horus, and then how did you curse that demon? Issei, the last skill they saw was the Hell Wolf. Horus, yes, that has to do with that. Issei, that Hell Wolf skill has double function. Horus, so and what is it? Issei, easy, he has the ability to see his sin, and if it is bad he puts a curse on it. Horus, when he heard that he was surprised, really, wow, I never imagined that, and what was his curse? Issei, easy, he is sterile and will not be able to satisfy a woman. Horus, ha ha ha, so no woman will want to be with him. Issei, that's right. The brown-haired boy was going to continue talking until Hathor entered the room. Hathor, it's ready. Horus, seriously, that's good, then it's time, right? Hathor, so it's time to go, love. Horus, okay, well, Issei, it's time for me to go. Issei, okay, uncle, I hope you come back again to chat. Horus, that's how it will be, Issei. Issei, same to you and Hathor. Hathor, thanks, Issei. So Horus and Hathor left the Hyadu estate. Issei, I think I'll go see my children. So the chestnut went to his children. The next day, Hyadu estate, specifically in the meeting room. We see all the leaders accompanied by the people who will join the Golden Path group. Issei, well, I see that we are all here. Everyone nodded. Issei, I summoned them here since their leaders made the decision to put them in a strong group that is the Golden Path. This group will be dedicated to maintaining peace and destroying the enemies that want to end this peace. I will mention the names of the people who are in the group and will step forward, and then we will decide who will be the leader. Nobility Citri. All the nobility took a step forward like this. Baal nobility. The nobility took a step forward like this, putting themselves on par with the Citri. Nobility Agar's nobility. The nobility took a step in front, putting themselves on par with the Citri and Baal nobility. Thor. Thor took a step forward, standing in front of Issei. Athena and Ares. The two people took a step forward like this, putting themselves in front of Issei. The leaders, upon hearing that the god of war would be in the group, were surprised until Issei took them out of their surprise. Tobio Accuse. This one, upon hearing his name, took a step and was in front of Issei. Delio Gesualdo. This lazily took a step and was in front of Issei. Badet, Sekhmet, and Thought. They took a step forward and were in front of Issei. Yulong, Tiamat, Midgard, Sorm, already the great dragon. These took a step and were in front of Issei. Issei, don't you want to introduce yourself, Sun Wukong? So Sun Wukong stood in front of Issei. Issei, that's all of them, so this group is already formed. So you can choose who is your leader of this group. Ares, I think it should be the strongest and the one who formed this team. What do the others think? The others just nodded. Issei, I mean, they want me to be their leader. Athena, that's right, Issei-kun, you are the strongest here and everyone knows it. Issei sighed. It's okay, since I'm going to be the leader. This group will be divided into groups. The first Alpha group will be made up of the Citri nobility, Delio Gesualdo and Tobio Accuse. Their captain will be Delio. The second Omega group will be made up of the nobility of Serorg, Baal, Thor, and Thought. Their captain will be Thor. The third group, Codex, will be made up of the nobility Agar's Tiamat, and the great dragon. Their captain will be Tiamat. The fourth group, the Premies, will be made up of Athena, Batet, and Sekhmet. Their captain will be Athena. The fifth group, the Premies, will be Yulong, Midgard, Sormer, and Sun Wukong. Their captain will be Sun Wukong. Issei, and they're wondering, and where am I really? People just nodded. Issei, easy, I was thinking about it yesterday, so we would need 2 people, so add 2, I will be powerful. The last group, where I will be called like the infernal dragons, will be made up of Fafnir the Pearl Dragon and me. The leaders agreed with Issei. The more people there were in their group, the more feared they would be for their enemies. Issei, all the groups are formed for a simple thing. The Golden Path will be a group to defeat the threats, but it is made up of subgroups. These subgroups will divide when we are in a battle with several enemies and will be in charge of doing different missions. It may be to investigate a zona, or it may be that they attack a group. But all will answer by the name of their subgroups, and will make cases to their captains. The group The Golden Path will be feared by its members from now on. This will be our base. It may be that in the future people join us to the group The Golden Path and our subgroups grow, and we will accept that from today they will live here in my house. Everyone agrees. The Alpha Omega Codex groups, the Preemies and Ultimus, nodded to what their boss said. Issei, okay, everyone can leave to bring their things. The people of the Golden Path group just nodded and went to bring their things. Michael, Issei, can I ask you a favor? Issei, yes, what is it, Michael? Michael, well, my sister wants to come live here with you. Issei, surprised, really? Michael, yes, and what do you say? Issei, it's okay, it's just her right. Michael, no, she also wants to bring Griselda. Issei sighed, it's okay. Azazel, sorry to butt in your conversation, and still Issei, Penemy wants to come live with you, what do you say? Issei, it's okay, no problem with that, the house is very big, and they can live here. Michael, thank you, Issei, for accepting my sister to live with you, I thank you. And so be it, Michael. Azazel, I would like to say the same, but no, because without Penemy there won't be a person to do the paperwork. Issei, that's why you have your hands, you can't do it yourself. Azazel, to listen to that he only got sadder and left. Anubis, well, I think there will be more movement in this house. Issei, that's right, father. Anubis, I wish you luck and get ready since it won't be long before they attack the Yokai faction. Issei, okay, I'll go see my children and I'll go practice with my new sickle. Anubis just nodded and watched as Issei went to see his children. Anubis thought, love, our son has grown up and soon there will be more women to occupy his damaged heart. With that last thought, Anubis left. Chapter 19, Attack on the Yokai Faction. Chapter 19, Attack on the Yokai Faction. We see Issei preparing for a new meeting with the Golden Path group. They were informed yesterday that they had to meet since tomorrow there will be an attack, so they will need to make a plan since they do not know who can go attack, and that bothered Issei because he did not know if they were strong or if a large army would enter. So he prepared himself and already has plans for the attack. Issei headed towards the room since they were waiting for him. He entered and saw several people, and there he was. The Maus Serzex Lucifer with Graphia Lucifuge, his maid the Maus Seraphal Leviathan, Odin, Zeus, Azazel, Michael, and all the members of the Golden Path group. Something that bothered him is that the DXD group was there. Issei grabbed and sat on a chair. Serzex, well, here we are. Issei, yes, I already know before starting. Answer me something. I said this curiously since Serzex was not expected to bring the DXD group. Serzex, and what is Issei? Curious about what Issei would say. Issei, why is the DXD group here? Annoyed since he doesn't like to see his ex-wives or anything. Serzex sighed. They wanted to come. He already knew that Issei would be upset to see his sister and her entourage with Vali again, but he couldn't do anything. Issei was within his rights to be upset with his sister and her entourage. Issei sighed. I see that your sister was bothering you to bring her, right? Since he knew his ex-wife Rias very well. Serzex, that's right, but let's leave that aside. He wanted to leave this aside since he didn't want to talk about it. Issei, you're right. As you know, we have a big problem, and tomorrow our allies Asia will attack and we have to do something. He knew the Yokai faction was important since with them his forces would not be weakened, and besides there was one of the women that Issei likes. Odin, your right, kid has a plan in mind. Issei, that's right, I have a plan. Azazel, and would you like to share the plan? Issei, if the plan is this, we do not know if an army will attack the Yokai faction or if it will be a few people. That is why I came up with something, and that is that we divided. The Preemies group will be in the northern area of the temple defending the place, will be accompanied by an army of dragons. The cousins just nodded. The Ultimus group will defend the southern area of the temple with an army of fallen angels. They will protect that area and its inhabitants. The Primus group will do that as well. The Omega group will go to the western area of the temple. They will do the same as the other groups. They will go with an army of Valkyries. The Alpha group will be in the eastern area. They will be with an army of demons. The Codex group will support any group that asks them for help. And finally, the Infernal Dragons group will go to protect Yasaka and give her the cure. This goes for all the groups. If you see that there are many enemy soldiers, retreat. If you see that you are overwhelmed, retreat from the place. But make sure that all the yokai that help you are near you, since Albion will teleport you all except the enemies. Any questions? Tiamat, and what will you do, Issei? Issei, I will protect Yasaka and teleport her here. Another doubt. To be honest, Issei was worried about Yasaka since he knew she had feelings like that. Sona, and where Albion will teleport us. Curious, since I wanted to know where they will be since they didn't know if a large army would go. Issei, here in the Duat. If things do not go as planned, they will be taken out of the place and will be teleported here. There are already all doubts. Surzex, I have something to ask you. Surzex knew that Issei would be angry since he would not like what he was going to hear. Issei, and that's it. Curious about what Surzex Lucifer would say. Surzex, may the DXD group support them. Issei, I refuse. They are weak and will only hinder the other groups of the Golden Path. Surzex, well, I see that I cannot convince you. Surzex was letting out a sigh of relief as he did not want his dear sister to go fight with other beings. Issei, and if there are any doubts, the leaders can withdraw since the Golden Path will take us to a place near Kyoto. All the leaders nodded and left the place. Issei, Golden Path prepared to leave except the members of the Infernal Dragons. I want to talk to them. Everyone who made up the Golden Path group nodded and everyone went to prepare to go to a place in Kyoto, but the Infernal Dragons group stayed with Issei. Issei waited for the other group members to leave so he could talk to his group members. Issei, well, since the others have left and won't be able to hear the conversation, we'll do something. Issei became serious, something that surprised those present since he was behaving abnormally. Fafnir, and that's what it is. Curious about what Issei would say, since when Issei got serious, he would do something. Issei, I want you to do something for me and I want you to listen. Those present only nodded. Issei, if the enemy's forces are many and they surpass us, I want you to make a barrier where you can enclose all the enemies. The only one left there to fight the enemies will be me. He said this seriously since he would not like to lose one of his comrades. Pearl Dragon, why don't the others help you if you're going to be trapped in the barrier? I said this confused because if the others were there it would be easier to defeat the enemies since they were strong. Issei, easy. If we are outnumbered it would be harder for us to defend ourselves, and if possible the support you send us would take a while to arrive. The two people just nodded. Issei, besides, it will be easier for me to fight and I want the barrier to be strong so that it can contain my destructive power. If you need help from another dragon, let me know now. If you can leave and don't tell anyone about what we talked about here in this room. The dragons just nodded and left to get ready. Issei then headed to his room to change into something more comfortable. Drake, partner is okay, worried about his partner as he felt his emotions, which were anger. Issei, yes, I'm fine, I'm just thinking. Drake, what a mate, curious what I was thinking. Issei, those sons of Hitches poisoned Yasaka and I'm worried about Kunu. What if they did something to her too? He was worried because he cared about her since he cares about both of them as well as the other girls. Drake, I know, buddy, and don't worry, the girl must be fine. Issei sighed. I hope so, but well, it's time to leave. Issei went to his children's room. He entered and began to approach the cribs. He could see that his children were sleeping peacefully. The brown-haired boy approached each crib to give each baby a kiss on the forehead, and Issei spoke. Issei, children, I swear that I will protect you. I will fight for you so that you can live in peace and not have any problems. I said this because I did not want my children to be in danger, and I did not want them to be in a war soon since it is cruel to see that. With those last words, Issei left the room and headed to the hall where everyone from the Golden Path was, as well as Gabriel and Penemu. Issei, I see that everyone is here. He could see that in the room everyone was there waiting for him. Thor, that's right, boy, you're the only one missing. Issei, well, I think it's time to go. Athena, that's right, she said this with a monotonous face. Issei, okay, Gabriel and Penemu, I ask my children to take care of him while I'm gone, and if my ex-wives come here and try to take my children, just call the guards and they will come and help. They will also be watching the door. Only you two and some of my relatives will be able to enter the room. He knew that if he was away from home, his ex-wives would want to take his children, and he didn't want to have any more problems. It was enough that they had a war coming up. Gabriel, it's okay, Issei-kun, don't worry, the babies will be fine, right, Penemu? Penemu, that's right, Issei, they will be fine. With that, Issei left there in a magic circle. In another part of Japan, more specifically in a forest near Kyoto, a large circle appeared where a large group of people could be seen. Issei, we're here. Tiamat, this is where we will be. Issei, no Tiamat, the place where we will go is further ahead. Batet, then why did you bring us here? Somewhat curious as to why her beloved brought them here. Issei, so they can walk a little. Everyone put on a poker face when they heard that. Dulio, and why do you do that? Don't you see that it's lazy to walk? He said this with laziness while walking. Issei, don't complain and let's go to the place. Issei started walking and the others followed him. 15 minutes later, they could see a large, very traditional Japanese-style house on a part of the mountain. When they got closer, they could see the house better, but what was most surprising was that they could see all of Kyoto from there, something that amazed them. Issei, impressed by the scenery. The others could only nod. Issei just laughed. It would be better if they went into the house and rested since tomorrow would be very active, and they would need strength. Everyone present entered except one person. Batet, Issei, this last turn to see her. Issei, yes, tell me. Batet, I see you are very thoughtful. Issei sighed, that's right. Batet, and I can know why, curious about her beloved's thoughts. Issei, I think about what will happen tomorrow. I hope the plan goes well. He really hoped his plan would work. Batet, Issei, your plan will work out, don't worry. Issei, I hope so. Nervous Batet, hey Issei, she was nervous because she would ask him something. Issei, yes, tell me, curious about what Batet would say. Nervous Batet, I want to ask you something, and that is that when all this is over we could have a date. She was a bundle of nerves because she wanted to know what Issei would say. Issei, sure, but you know you're not the only girl who wants a date with me, you know that, right? Batet, yes, I know Issei, and I know that if I am your partner you will have more, and the only thing I ask is that I am always in your heart, and that you love me. I know we have not talked much, but I would like to have dates with you and get to know each other more. She knew that she would not be the only girl who is with Issei. She knows that the other girls have feelings for Issei. The only thing she asked is that Issei loves her. Issei, of course, Batet, you know that every girl will love her, don't worry. Issei, after finishing deciding that, approaches Batet and gives her a hug. The latter blushes but hugs him back. They both separated and entered the house to rest since the next day would be a very busy day. The next day, the Golden Path group could be seen ready for combat. They knew that in a few minutes the Yokai faction would be attacked by the enemies. They had already been ready for a while. The faction sent some soldiers that Issei had said. Issei, well, it's time for the truth, let's go. Saying that, a huge circle appeared beneath the feet of the soldiers and the Golden Path group. When the circle appeared, the group disappeared. Minutes before at the Yasaka temple, everything was normal. One or another Yokai walking around there carefree or having a drink or eating around in the Yasaka temple. That one could see some movement. Korea others were watching, but we will feel like we were in a room, specifically in Yasaka's room. The room was huge. Large windows with white curtains or some other decorative furniture, but if we look closely we can see a huge king-size bed where in it you can see a young woman with a voluptuous figure and very long blonde hair with matching eyes. She is a woman with delicate facial features and her eyebrows are very short and round, a symbol of nobility. Her beautiful woman's name was Yasaka, the leader of the Yokai. You could see that she was in poor condition since her skin color was very pale. Around the bed you could see several yokai worried about their leader. Next to them you asked to see a young woman with the appearance of an elementary school student. She has golden blonde hair tied in a ponytail and matching eyes. She also has 9 golden foxtails and matching ears. Her main attire is the traditional Miko costume and the high geta with white tabi. The little girl could be seen to be sad and worried about her mother. Until they hear a tremendous explosion that alerted everyone. That was when another yokai enters the room desperately and says, "Yokai soldier, Kuno-sama does not attack. I said this out of desperation since there are enemies that are attacking. Kunu, ask our allies for help." She was worried because the ones who would attack could be the people who poisoned her mother. With those orders the soldier went to ask for help. Kunu already knew that the generals were already acting. She saw how soldiers entered the room to protect their leader, and she could see some of the generals who came with them. "General Yokai, Kuno-sama is fine." Kunu, yes. "General Yokai, I will be here to defend you in case any enemy wants to attack you and Lady Isaka." Kunu, it's okay, let's just hope that our allies send us support. She was sure that her allies would send them support, and she hoped that one person would help them. With Issei. These appeared on the battlefield. Everyone was surprised because they could see that they were a huge army that came from everywhere. Something that scared them were their forms, a being with 3 heads, with a wide torso. As for its extremities, the upper ones are 4 tentacles, 2 for each arm, and the lower ones are 2 quite long legs. There were other types of creatures. Some are yellow flying creatures. They attacked by shooting a yellow liquid. There were other creatures that looked and were grotesque. They were a kind of ball. They were made of twisted flesh with multiple bright mouths, screaming as they roll. These explode when they make contact. The soldiers were frightened by the creatures they were looking at until Issei spoke. "Issei, shoot." Everyone hearing that dispersed to other places where Issei had told them in the plan. Northern Zone. The preemies group were there fighting with several. When they dispersed they began to attack to be able to reach the area that Issei had told them about. They attacked with everything they had. Athena quickly discovered their weak points of the beings with 3 heads, and they were destroying the heads when they shine. Sekhmet attacked with fury and strength, and Batet destroyed the beings that flew and the meatballs. The soldiers attacked all the beings. Athena saw that every time they killed one of those beasts, more appeared and attacked. One or another yokai could help, but not even with those they are surpassed by the enemies. They had to resist. Until Batet noticed something or someone. A formidable and nightmarish monster with enormous, scaly arms. Athena saw how the being smiled at her. She could see that this being controlled the army. "Athena, girls." The other 2 girls turned to see Athena and could see that being something they had never seen in their lives. "Sekhmet, Athena, do you know what that thing is, or have you seen something similar to that?" She is asking Athena since she did not know what that horrible thing was. Athena, to be honest, no, she had never seen such a horrible being in her life. "Batet, girls, I think that is the leader of these beings since he commands those hordes of creatures." He said this because he could see how that being controlled those creatures. Athena, I know we must attack. If we defeat him the army may fall. She was sure that if they defeated that being, the enemy army would possibly disappear. Athena, Batet and Sekhmet went to confront that being. When they headed towards it, the creatures moved aside to let them pass, but they attacked the yokai and the dragons that accompanied them. The 3 girls arrived in front of the being. Angry Athena, who are you? Unknown, it is disrespectful to ask for someone's name without introducing yourself. I said this to provoke the goddess. Athena, my name is Athena, the goddess of wisdom, and those behind me are Batet, the goddess of love and harmony, protector of homes and temples. She was the goddess of war in Lower Egypt, and the other is Sekhmet, the goddess of war and revenge, but also the goddess of healing. Unknown, I only asked for your name, but since you introduced yourself, it's my turn. My name is Dagon, and I am a primordial god. Athena, primeval god. Dagon, that's right, we are creations of God. Our Creator sealed us because of our great power. He knew that we would be the new gods of this world, so he sealed us all. But well, why would they want to know that if they will die here? Athena, yeah, we won't die without a fight, right girls? The other girls said yes in unison. Dagon, if that's what you want, then so be it. Dagon with a rapid speed attacked Athena. Thanks to that he was at his best, he was able to dodge the blow Dagon when he saw that went to attack Sekhmet, but she defended herself with a spear, something that Dagon did not care about. Batet, realizing that she launched herself against Dagon, as Batet launched herself against him, he used his enormous arm to stop the blows, something that he achieved with such ease. Athena quickly made a magic circle of fire attack. Dagon saw that, and from his mouth he takes out a large amount of water that forms a wall. Batet saw that her enemy was distracted and launches herself against him, something that Dagon already had in mind. Dagon dodges a blow from Batet and hits him in the stomach, something that makes him writhe in pain. Sekhmet, seeing that, takes out a ray of light from the sun that goes straight to Dagon. The latter could not dodge the attack and it hit him directly in the stomach. Batet moves away from Dagon in great pain from the last blow that Dagon gave her. Dagon, that was an incredible power, but it's a shame that it didn't hurt me, mocking them since that blow didn't even tickle him. Sekhmet, damn, how did you survive that? Angry as she launched a very powerful attack. Dagon, do you think that attack from an insignificant being could hurt me? Ha ha ha, I will teach you what a real attack is. Dagon raised his hands and accumulated a lot of energy in his hand, making a blue sphere. Dagon, I hope you survive this. Launching the attack like this, the three girls who were together. The three girls tried to escape, but they couldn't because the attack had been launched, and the attack was going very fast, impacting the attack on the three girls, causing a huge explosion that destroyed some houses that were around the explosion, causing a cloud of smoke. Dagon just laughed maniacally when the smoke disappeared. You could see three girls in a crater, badly injured with some parts of their body bleeding, and their clothes in tatters. Dagon, I see that they survived, but we will see if they can withstand another similar attack. Ha ha ha. He was already accumulating a large amount of energy in his hand like last time. Before firing the attack, he saw how they disappeared from the place along with the dragons and yokai. Minutes before, the Premies group disappeared. Southern Zone. The Ultimus group had already arrived at the area where they would defend together with the soldiers they gave them, who were the fallen angels. They attacked quickly and helped the yokai who were fighting with the enemies. Yulong, Midgardsormr, and Sun Wukong lunged towards the attack. They quickly described their weak points of the beings with three heads. When one head glowed, it was time to destroy it. Everything was going well as the plan said until the three of them received an attack each. When Yulong, Midgardsormr, and Sun Wukong did not notice the attack, so they received the attack. When they turned to see who launched the attack, they were surprised as they saw a large old man had gray hair with a goatee of the same color as his hair, wearing an elegant black suit with a red tie, and had a hat. Unknown, wow, but we have a Buddha and two dragon kings here, ha. He had seen these three destroying his armies, and he didn't like that. Sun Wukong, so you were the one who attacked. Surprised since he didn't expect an attack from behind, he was so focused on those monsters that he didn't notice those attacks. Unknown, that's right, I'll introduce myself to you. My name is Shadow Man and I'm a servant of Cthulhu, the primordial god. Yulong, you know that attack did hurt, but we will return the attack, right, Sun Wukong? Sun Wukong, that's right, what do you say, Midgardsormr? Midgardsormr, this is how the attack is, it will not be immune. So the three of them launched themselves against Shadow Man. Yulong launched a large fireball. Shadow Man, seeing that, created a magic shield that covered him from the attack. Sun Wukong, seeing that, took advantage of the attack to hit Shadow Man, who could not dodge it and was thrown against a house. Midgardsormr, seeing that, created a fireball that threw him into the house. Midgardsormr, Yulong, let's use the tails to crush him, and Sun Wukong, when we remove the tails, use your staff to hit him again. The two nodded. Yulong and Midgardsormr used their tails to crush Shadow Man. When they did that, the house was destroyed. When these last two raised their tails, Sun Wukong used his staff to give another blow that hit the target. Shadow Man comes out of the rubble laughing maniacally. Shadow Man, I really haven't had fun like this in years. LOL, let's play again, but this time it's my turn to hit. The three of them were surprised because they thought that with those attacks he would be seriously injured, but they were pleasantly surprised to see that guy without a scratch. Shadow Man saw that they were in shock, so he pounced on Asia and the three subjects. The latter arrived in front of Sun Wukong, who hit him on the head, sending him flying to a house in ruins. Asia then appeared next to Yulong, who gave him a combo of blows that sent him flying to another side where the enemy armies were, taking some soldiers with him. Attack Shadow Man appears in front of Midgardsormr, who gives him a strong kick that sends him flying to where Sun Wukong was, destroying the house in ruins and taking other houses along the way. The three subjects were surprised by the subject's speed, so they became serious. Sun Wukong raised all his power to the limit, as did the two dragons. Shadow Man realized that. Shadow Man, so they will fight seriously, laughing maniacally. Sun Wukong appeared in front of Shadow Man, giving him a blow to the chin full of Tuki energy, dealing more damage. Midgardsormr, seeing that, launches himself, and gives a big bite to Shadow Man that the latter could not dodge. When Midgardsormr gave him the bite, he throws him like this. Yulong, who gives him a tail whip that sends him like this to the sky, so that Sun Wukong appears above Shadow Man to give him a combo of blows, so that in the end he gives him a big hit with the staff that sends Shadow Man flying, who was already waiting for him. Midgardsormr, with a big fireball, he launches the attack like this. Shadow Man, who receives it full on. The Buddha and the two Dragon Kings expected Shadow Man to not get up, but to their great surprise he got up as if nothing had happened. His clothes were in tatters, but they were surprised to see that his clothes were regenerating until they heard Shadow Man speaking to them. Shadow Man, wow, that's the power of a Buddha and two Dragon Kings. I'll show you what power is. Shadow Man began to transform. His face was no longer that of a human. His face transformed into the face of an octopus. The tentacles were around his head. His mouth was large with fangs. His hands had become 2 tentacles for each arm. He raised the tentacles like this, up where a large dark mass was accumulating. The Buddha and the two Dragon Kings were surprised by the appearance of Shadow Man, but came out of their surprise when they saw the great energy that was accumulating in the tentacles. When the energy took the form of a sphere and was launched like this, the three of them could not escape from the sphere that hit them squarely, making a huge explosion, sending the fallen angels, the parasites, and the meatballs flying. The three-headed beasts remained in place. When the explosion occurred, a large curtain of smoke could be seen. When the smoke disappeared, a large crater could be seen. Some of the houses disappeared inside the crater. You could see the Buddha and the two Dragon Kings injured, but not seriously, just a few cuts. Shadow Man, I see that the stories are true. The great ape has great resistance, just like those two winged lizards next to you. Ha ha ha, let's hope they can withstand the second round. Before he launched himself, he could see how the United Angels and not another yokai who was helping disappeared along with Sun Wukong and the two Dragon Kings. Shadow Man, damn, they escaped and I wanted to keep fighting, but well, it's time to go where that hitch is. So leaving the place. Minutes before the attack on the two groups. West Zone Omega Group. The Omega Group was located in the western area. He was fighting a group of beings from the enemy army. Thor was fighting the three-headed being, while Thought was fighting the parasites that were fighting, while the Baal nobility was destroying the meatballs that were coming in droves until they saw a somewhat strange being. It was a kind of red, viscous club full of eyes and jaws. That thing moved quickly towards the Omega Group, something that surprised them since they did not expect that thing to move quickly. The slimy club appeared in front of them until it spoke. Unknown, but here we have two gods, one of lightning and one of wisdom. And we have some demons, haha. Thor, who are you? Somewhat curious to know who that viscous thing was. Unknown person, I am someone unimportant, but since you want to know who I am, I will introduce myself. My name is Shoggoth. Thought, and what do you want? He said this calmly since he had never heard that name before, and he had a lot of wisdom. Shoggoth, well, that's easy to say. I'm here to finish off those of you who are in my way so I can kill that hitch. He was ecstatic about wanting to kill that hitch. Serorg, and you think we'll let you go? Calm but a little worried since Issei had told them not to let anyone pass, and this being in front of them was radiating a strong energy around him. Shoggoth, ha ha ha, and you will stop me, a primordial god. Don't make me laugh. Thor, a primeval god, it's kind of pathetic that exists. You invented that title and I will show you that he is a god, while raising his hand with his hammer preparing a lightning bolt, but Shoggoth didn't allow him since a bit of his viscous mace turned into tentacles that gave Thor a great blow. He flew out like that into a house that was nearby. Thought lunged at Shoggoth. The latter saw what he was going to do, so with several tentacles he grabbed him and threw him towards where Thor was. Serorg's nobility lunged at Shoggoth. He created a sphere in his jaws that he threw towards the nobility, who narrowly dodged it, but they didn't see the second sphere of energy that was approaching and it hit them squarely. Serorg lunged at Shoggoth, but before reaching him he stopped. The reason was that he couldn't move because a large club was holding him by the foot. Shoggoth made a ball of energy that he threw at Serorg. This hit him squarely and sent him flying. Thor and Thot began to get up from the blow that Shoggoth gave them. They saw how the nobility of Serorg and the latter were easily taken out. Thor lunged at Shoggoth when he arrived and hit him with the hammer. He only saw how the hammer pierced him. Shoggoth saw this and gave him a few lashes while making a large ball of energy that contained a lot of power. Thot, seeing that approaches to save his partner before arriving, he saw how a mace grabbed him by the feet and hands and heard when one of the jaws said something, "Dark Ray." When saying that, the mace that held Thot began to release many black rays. When one of the rays touched Thot's skin, they electrocuted him. The latter could only give some screams of pain. Thor turned to see his partner and saw how the mace released black rays. He wanted to get away from the grip, but he couldn't. He turned to see Shoggoth and saw how he shot energy at him. Thor began to close his eyes. He waited a few minutes and felt nothing. He opened his eyes and saw that he was not in Tokyo but in the Duath. Chapter 20 ends the attack. Chapter 20 ends the attack. Everyone thinks that peace is something lasting, but the truth is that is never true. Peace may last, but not for long, since there will be people or beings who want to end the peace, or there will be others who will protect the peace. Before all these events, there was a time where the war was great. Since God created his first creation, he gave all the knowledge to his creations. For a time there was peace. God was happy for his creations, but decided to create his first angel. But he told his first creation that he would create a being full of light. They were envious since they only wanted to be his only creation, thus starting a great battle between them. God could not defeat them since it hurt his heart that his creations rebelled against him, so he asked for help from a person. That person told him that yes, he would help him, thus starting another war between beings. Present. East Zone. In the east area you could see destruction everywhere. You could see three-headed beings destroying everything they looked at. A parasite flying around throwing a liquid at the beings that were there, rolling balls that attacked any being. In short, it was total destruction. The yokai that were there defended their home together with the beings that helped them. The nobility Citri helped the yokai that were injured while they attacked. Dulio Gesualdo attacked the three-headed beings with his Longinus. Tobio Accuse attacked the meatballs with the parasites. Everything was going well until a being spoke to them. When they turned around, they saw something horrible. A being that had a plump appearance, with a bulging, round belly, and its face looked more like that of a monstrous toad than a deity. Its entire body was covered with imitation short fur, giving the impression of a cross between a bat and a marmot. Its sleepy eyelids fell half-closed over its globular eyes, while from its thick lips protruded the tip of a strange tongue. Unknown. But here we have two Longinus bearers and some demons. Ha ha, that's something fantastic. He laughed maniacally while looking at the group in front of them. Dulio bored. And who are you? Somewhat curious to know who that guy or that strange being was. Unknown being. My name is Tithagwa and I am a primeval god, saying it arrogantly since he was a god. Tobio accused. And what are those things that are there? Supposedly god, curious to know what those things were. Tithagwa. They the three-headed beings, we call them Margwas, and there are three types of them: the normal ones, the fire ones, and the darkness ones. Those things that fly, we call them parasites, and the rolling balls are called elemental insanity, element of madness. Now it is clear to you, dog. Tobio was upset by what that being called him. Tobio, look who says you already saw yourself in a mirror, upset by what that being told him. Tithagwa, haha, I'm beautiful. But enough talk, it's time for you all to die, ha ha ha. This being was laughing maniacally while getting into a fighting pose and lunged at the Citri group. The Citri nobility was already about to help until Tithagwa attacked them first. Dulio and Tobio could not do anything since they did not see how the great being moved. He attacked with charges or wanted to crush them. Dulio quickly pounced, so the great being hit him with one of its limbs that sent Dulio flying. Tobio launched himself to grab Dulio. Tobio, are you okay? Worried about his partner. Dulio, Yes, I'm fine, standing up with a little difficulty. We have to quickly help our companions. Tobio, okay, but what do we do? While watching as Tsithagwa attacked without remorse and little by little the Citri nobility was losing. Tsithagwa, ha ha ha, but how fun is this, ha ha ha, but well, it's time to finish with these to be able to fight with that angel and that dog. While opening his mouth, accumulating a large amount of energy that had a lot of power. Ha ha ha, I hope you can withstand that group of demons, ha ha. Launching the attack like that, the demons. The demons could not do anything about that attack until they saw how the attack was put into a kind of bubble that was then destroyed. Tsithagwa, so that's the power of the second Longinus, interested in how they destroyed the attack. Dilio, that's right, it's time for this team to kick your ass, right Tobio? Tobio, that's right, balance breaker, shouting the last thing. Tobio had transformed into a dog. Tsithagwa, ha ha ha, look at a rabid dog, ha ha, but well, since everyone is going to get serious, it's time for me to get serious too. Tsithagwa quickly pounced on the group of demons where he threw punches. The first to fall was Momo, then Saji, until he arrived with Sona and Tsubaki. These two could not do anything since Tsithagwa gave them a punch reinforced with energy that sent them both flying. Then he pounced on Tobio. Both were in a very even fight. Tobio threw claw-shaped punches at him. Every time Tobio hurt him, he regenerated. Both had been engaged in a fierce battle until Dilio came in to help Tobio. Both made a good pair in attacking Tsithagwa. Both had already won the battle until Tsithagwa retreated. Tsithagwa, I see that you are strong, but we will see if you can withstand this attack, while opening his mouth forming a blue attack. This one launched the Dilio attack, and when he saw that, he launched his own attack. Dilio, Hope Soap Bubble. The attack was an acid bubble that was launched like this. The attack caught Tsithagwa's sphere, immobilizing the energy sphere that Tsithagwa launched. Tobio, seeing that, quickly launched himself like this. Tsithagwa, the latter did not see here for hours. Tobio moved. He launched a claw like this in the stomach that made Tsithagwa scream. He quickly moved away from Tobio. Tsithagwa started laughing maniacally. Dilio, what are you laughing at, Toad? Angry at how the monster laughed. Tsithagwa, you think that stupid bubble will contain my attack? You're wrong, stupid, haha, it's time for you both to die. You put up a good fight worthy of two Longinus bearers, but it's time for you to die here. When he left that, the energy that was in the sphere dispersed into thousands of small spheres. This surprised Dilio and Tobio. The spheres passed through the bubble. After that, they began to join together, forming two spheres, each one quickly headed towards Tobio and Dilio. They could not react and receive the attack from the front, causing a huge explosion that made everything around them tremble and raising a large curtain of smoke. A couple of minutes the smoke began to disperse where Dilio and Tobio were. There was a gigantic crater in the middle of the crater. Dilio and Tobio were standing and bleeding. Their clothes were in tatters. Both were breathing with difficulty. Tsithagwa looked at them from above. Tsithagwa, but look how interesting it is that you were able to withstand my attack. I congratulate you for that feat, but it's time for you and that to disappear. When he finished speaking, he raised his hand, gathering a large amount of energy, forming a sphere the size of a tower. Then he compressed the sphere into a very small one, before I throw my attack. What are your last words, you idiots, haha? Unlock the power of AI. Sponsored by Amazon Web Services, AWS. Download our free ebook to discover how to democratize, operationalize, and build trust in AI. Learn from industry leaders and transform your business with cutting-edge AI strategies. Read more. Tobio, Raji Dam. Tsithagwa, well, I wanted to be a genre. He couldn't finish when he saw how Dilio, Tobio, and the Citri nobility disappeared from the place. Damned people escaped saying that the great toad disappeared from the place. Dilio and Tobio saw that they were in the duet. They were completely surprised until they saw how the Codex group came to help them heal. Dilio, and what are we doing here? Curious to know what they were doing here. A moment ago a big toad wanted to kill them, and the next they were already in the duet. Big Dragon, we don't know. We are also surprised as to why we are here. He didn't know what they were doing here either. Tiamat, that's right. We headed to support Ultimas, but we were radiated by those beings. Dilio, they are called Mardwas. They are the three-headed beings. the ones that were flying are called parasites, and the rolling things of meat are called elemental insanity. Tiamat, and who told you that? Curious to know who told her that. Tobio, the being that attacked us, he said this in a tired voice. Great dragon, so the things that attack them are strong. Dulio, don't tell me that the other groups were attacked by other beings just like us. Great dragon, that's right, they were all attacked by a being and were defeated. Dulio, I can't believe it. Great dragon, and besides the leader of the yokai is here. Tobio, what do you mean he's here and where's Issei? I can answer that. Everyone present turned to see the being who said that and saw a white dragon. The white dragon was the height of a Great Dane. Tiamat, what do you mean Albion? Albion, easy, I got them all out of there since it was Issei's orders. All what? Tiamat, explain yourself Albion. Albion, I will explain it to you when the entire golden path is together. Now it is just a matter of seeing what Issei is going to do. Dulio, what do you mean Albion? Albion, easy, the one left in the battle is Issei and we will see what happens. When he said that a large screen appeared in all the factions that were allied, but the most important was the one that was in the duet, since there were all the leaders of the factions along with some demons, angels, fallen angels and Valkyrie. Everyone present focused their sight like this on the screen that was transmitting the location of the yokai faction. Minutes before. You can see Issei next to Yasaka where he is giving the antidote to Yasaka, who had her eyes glazed and Akeno crying her eyes out. Yasaka, Issei, it's you. Issei, that's right, my cute little fox, it's me. Yasaka blushed at that Ori. Issei, I think it's ready, let's hope the antidote reacts. Kunu, Issei-san, are you going to help us get out of here? Issei, that's right, but we have to wait a while. Before Kunu could speak any further, Issei approached one of the windows and began to speak. Issei began to make signs with his hands until they ended in a triangle and shouted, Sabit o Mirami, all-seeing eye. When he said that 5 eyes came out of the triangle that Issei had made, the 5 eyes went to different locations. When the eyes did that, Issei closed one eye and the other that was open he put it in the middle of the triangle. When he did that, he could see everything that was happening on the battlefield. He saw the battles of all the groups of the Golden Path. He is truly angry since those so-called gods had touched his females, and that completely enraged him. Issei, Yasaka-san, and it's time for you to go. Yasaka, how will I go and where? Distressed about knowing where she would go. Issei, easy, you and your entire faction will go to the duet. There will be some medical dragons that will take care of you and take you to my bedroom with Kunu. They will be safe there. Yasaka, okay Issei, but you'll go with us, right? Issei, not until this is all over. He said all this while he had his technique. When he finished speaking, Yasaka and Kunu and the yokai that were taking care of Yasaka vanished along with the others that were on the battlefield. The only one I know was Issei and the enemy. Issei slowly walks towards the door to be able to leave the room and thus be able to leave the place. When Issei left the place and the building where he went to the top of the building to be able to better see the destitution of the place. What he saw left him a little impressed by all the destruction that was in the place. Issei could see all the chaos that the enemy made, and he could see that all the parasitic margwas and elemental insanity were heading towards him, something that did not surprise him. But if you looked closely at the legs of the parasitic margwas and elemental insanity, more specifically at the beginning of all those beings, you could see 4 monsters. These beings had a sinister smile. At present, in the duet, everyone present watched from the screen what was happening in the place where the yokai faction lived. They could see that the only one left there was Issei, who would face everyone who attacked the yokai faction. Zeus, that brat wants to take on all of them, that's stupid. Azazel will need support. I don't think so, he asked for no one to take him out of the barrier, so he better see what's going to happen. Odin, what do you mean Albion? Curious about what the dragon would say. He knew that Issei was strong, but he didn't trust that Issei could defeat those guys, since he asked his son Thor to tell him what had happened, and he told him everything. He was really scared by how they almost killed him, and he was surprised that there were very strong beings capable of dominating the world if they wanted to. Albion, Issei asked that no one take him out of there since he had a feeling, so he told the other two dragons to make a barrier so that he could fight with all his power. So the only thing we can do is watch from the screen that appeared is the only thing we can do, after finishing saying that everyone present who was there was worried about the brown-haired boy. On the battlefield, Issei saw that all the enemies were rushing at him like that, so he quickly jumped to the other side as all the Margwas rushed towards him. Issei thought, damn you, there are too many of these things, the only thing I can do is that. After finishing thinking, Issei quickly stretched his hand towards the sky and began to concentrate the power of destruction, and then threw his energy towards the sky and said, Dark Nebula, saying that the sphere grew and then turned into thousands of mini-spheres. This caused it to snow. When these mini-spheres touched the Margwas, parasites or elemental insanity, they disappeared into a bunch of molecules. Issei, seeing that his attack was doing damage, quickly took out his sword and sickle. When he took out his two weapons, he quickly spun them in his hands and quickly pounced on the enemy army. You could see cuts here, cuts there, diagonal, horizontal cuts, descending cuts and ascending cuts. Issei quickly cut off the head of a Margwa. When he did that, a tentacle was heading towards his head. Issei quickly dodged it and cut the tentacle. Issei quickly moved away from the place. Issei, damn, these things never come out, so I'll have to use that. Issei quickly dissipated his technique. Quickly the brown-haired boy stretches out his hand like this. The sky quickly turns gray and lightning begins to fall like this. Issei, a golden ray falls on Issei, creating a smoke screen. When it dissipates, you can see a metal being in the shape of a dog. His clothes were something unique. Note: it is like the one Bills wears in Dragon Ball Super. After that, Issei quickly raises both of his hands like this in front. When he made that movement, the earth began to tremble, and then began to crack. From those screams, black sand began to come out. Then from the sand began to swirl, forming a bunch of Anubis soldiers. Note: the soldiers are like the movie The Mummy 2 when the Medjay gather in the arena to fight the Anubis soldiers. End of note. A lot of soldiers came out of the black earth that swirled, roaring and raising their weapons like this. Issei, the brown-haired boy, takes out his two weapons and raises them. So the Margwas, the Issei soldiers, quickly ran towards the Margwas, thus starting a fight with the Margwas. Issei went to where the ones who commanded the Margwas were Dagon, Shadowman, Shagath, and Sathagwa. Shadowman, but look what we have here. If it's the little dragon that they betrayed with their best friend, he said this, making fun of Issei. Dagon, ha ha ha, you're right, and besides he's the son of a useless god, ha ha ha, while looking at Issei with some anger. Issei, but look who says he is a pet of a person who was betrayed by his father, while looking at Shadowman, and apart from that we have such a horrible being. Apparently his father sealed him for that reason because he is horrible, and not only that, his power is so pathetic that he makes fun of someone who can beat him, while facing Dagon. Shagath, apparently the brat has balls, ha ha ha, while laughing at the things Issei had said. Sathagwa, haha, you're right, but it seems that he thinks he can beat us, who are the true gods of this stupid planet, while looking at his brother Shagath. Issei, believe me, I have the power to defeat you and all the enemies that oppose me, and you are one of those, while looking at Dagon, Shadowman, Shagath, and Sathagwa. Sathagwa, haha brat, you have the balls to tell us that you can defeat us, haha, and besides you have seen all our power. Issei, I've seen the fight you've had with my companions, and I've seen all the abilities they may have, and apart from that you haven't seen how I fight, so I have the advantage. Issei is transformed into the form of the Egyptian gods. All the gods have their transformation as if they were a transformer. When they are injured, their blood is gold, or rather their gold blood. This transformation gives them a power capable of surpassing the two celestial dragons. With this transformation they can fight Ophis, the dragon goddess of infinity, but they cannot beat her. All power has a cost, and that cost is that every time you use that armor your power will be sealed for a month, and when you recover it will be slowly. But for Issei that does not happen. When he uses that transformation his power rises to a great power, the power of the great red dragon. With this transformation Issei can defeat anything, and that without saying that he can transform into a dragon that can defeat any deity without a hint of tiredness. Issei quickly launched himself like this. Dagon, when Issei was in front, he gives him a punch that sends him flying into the sky. When he did that, he went towards Shadowman, who kicks him and sends him into a wall where he was embedded. Issei quickly went where Shadowman was embedded. The brown-haired grabs him by the head and slams him into the ground again and again, then smashes his head one last time. When he did that, he drags him all over the ground, then lifts him by the hair with one hand, and with the other he has a sphere of the power of destruction that put him in front of Shadow Man's face. The latter could not be anything, and Issei says a word that scares Shadow Man. Yokai, Issei's hand that had the sphere of dismissal, that is placed in front of Shadow Man. The latter begins to disappear in particles. When Shadow Man disappears, Dagon falls somewhat hurt, while Shoggoth and Tsathoggua are surprised by how they defeated Shadow Man until Issei speaks, taking Shoggoth and Tsathoggua out of their surprise. Issei, Shadow Man, his power was very great. He could withstand the blows of Sun Wukong and the attacks of my dragons, but what he cannot withstand is the power of dismissal. Since my Yokai is different from the Baal demon family, my power is molecular, and that of the Baal is only to destroy mine. No, and that defeated Shadow Man. But well. Now you guys continue, pointing to his enemies. The three beings that were there stared at each other, and quickly got into a fighting pose just like the brown-haired boy. A great fight will begin where there will be destruction, and one will emerge victorious, and another will die. Issei versus the Primordial Gods. Issei, son of Anubis, Chapter 21. Issei versus the Primordial Gods. The three beings that were there stared at each other, and quickly got into a fighting pose just like the brown-haired boy. A great fight will begin where there will be destruction, and one will emerge victorious, and another will die. In the place you could feel a great pressure in the air. Each of the beings stayed watching, waiting for someone to make the first move, but nobody did. The three beings felt strange as Issei looked at them with fury and penetrating eyes. Those eyes showed pain like that until Issei pounced Asia Shoggoth. Tsathoggua, they quickly covered themselves with their arms as Issei threw a punch at their faces, but they managed to cover themselves from the fists. They quickly moved away from Issei. Dagon, who was lying in a crater, was able to get up with some difficulty, and saw everything Issei did, from killing Shadow Man to attacking Ace's brothers. Dagon saw that Issei was distracted and quickly launched himself at Issei, but the latter saw what Dagon was going to do. Issei, seeing that Dagon lunged towards him, quickly stretched out his hand to grab him by the face and slammed him into the ground. His brothers, seeing that, were surprised at that act of speed. They could not see that movement. Shoggoth saw an opening in Issei's defense and quickly took advantage of it, and was able to give him a kick that sent Issei flying through the air. Tsathoggua, upon seeing it, stretched his hand towards the sky and invoked his power to be able to make a sphere of energy that he launched towards Issei, who could not be anything in the sky, and the attack hit him squarely in the gut. Everyone was surprised by the display of power that Issei showed, especially when he eliminated Shadow Man without shedding a drop of sweat. Sun Wukong was surprised by how they defeated Shadow Man. It cost him a lot, and he understood that he had to train more to be able to face the beings that were coming in the future. While the faction leaders understood that they had to train themselves and their soldiers as well, since they had shown that their armies are weak. The Issei girls were worried about the brown-haired boy who they watched as he faced those primordial gods alone, and how his brown-haired soldiers easily faced the parasitic magwas and the rolling flesh things. They and the other people who were in the dirt looked worriedly at the screen as the brown-haired boy received a ball of energy. On the battlefield, Tsathoggua, Shoggoth and Dagon, the latter of whom recovered from the stampede they gave him, looked up, specifically at the place where there was a smoke screen. They could not distinguish if there was someone there or not until the smoke screen vanished, revealing a pair of dragon wings, black wings. But the most attractive thing about the wings was not their color, but from what they could see, the wings had spirals, more specifically galaxies on all the wings, until Dagon, Shoggoth and Tsathoggua saw how those wings came in, and they could see Issei in his Egyptian god form without a scratch. This surprised them until Issei disappeared from the sight of the three beings, until Dagon felt a kick in the head, Shoggoth felt a punch in the stomach that made him spit, and Tsathoggua felt a kick in the ribs. They writhed in pain until they noticed that Issei was making a strange pose with his palm, the four fingers raised and the big finger in the middle of the palm, and they heard him say, Buddhist palm. When the brown-haired man said that, the three beings felt a strong current of air heading towards them. They could not dodge it, and it hit them full on, sending them flying. They were somewhat upset since this inferior being was defeating them and without breaking a sweat, so they quickly got up and, raising their power to the maximum, they lunged towards the brown-haired man who was already waiting for them. They quickly engaged in a hand-to-hand fight, where kicks and punches could be seen going astray until they both separated. Issei, excited, they don't fight badly. I could say they are strong but not like Cthulhu, but they do fight, but well, this will be the end of you. Dagon, angry, we are also impressed, but it will not be our end, brat, since we will kill you and no one will remember a brat like you, haha. Issei, and just because they increase their power they think they will defeat a dragon god, haha, don't make me laugh, and besides you three will not get out of here alive since you will get out dead. Shoggoth, we'll see about that, brat, with a defiant look. Tsithagwa, less talk and more action, brat. Thus, throwing himself into combat again, Issei quickly headed towards Shoggoth. Both engaged in a fist fight. Shoggoth was at a disadvantage since Issei moved quickly until he again did the palm pose, Buddhist palm. Shoggoth couldn't do anything and took the blows, sending him flying. Tsithagwa, who saw everything, became even more enraged and launched himself at Issei. He kicked Issei, who quickly dodged it, but he didn't see him launch another kick. Tsithagwa, regroup, Shoggoth and Dagon hearing that joined together. Dagon, damn, the brat hits hard and his speed is monstrous, while rubbing his face from a blow he gave to Issei. Shoggoth, aside from that appearance, he became stronger, and we cannot defeat him if we do not unite. Aside from that, if we do not kill him, he will be a headache in the future, while looking at Issei. Issei, haha, that's true, if they don't kill me right now, I'll be a headache in their plans, and besides, I don't plan on dying here since I have valuable people waiting for me. Tsithagwa, haha, and we don't even plan on dying here since we have plans for the future, so start preparing your will, while the three of them started laughing at Issei. Issei, well, you know, I haven't been giving my 100%, but I think I'll put myself in serious mode since I can't forgive them for hurting this beautiful city and poisoning Isaka, so their destiny will be to die, while looking at the three beings in front of him with a sour face. The four quickly got into a combat stance ready to fight again. Everything was silent until a leaf fell to the ground. The four of them quickly pounced on each other. They threw punches. You could see everything, kicks, headbutts, paws, magic circles, among other things. Until they each settled into different positions. The three of them already felt tired, but there was one who didn't even have a drop of sweat. Issei, I see that you are tired, what a pity, and that I am still warming up with you, while making fun of the three who were already tired. Dagon, damn you, don't feel like such a big deal, and if you want to die, that's what we'll give you, since we haven't released our 100%, while looking angrily at Issei, brothers, it's time to release our 100%, we have to kill that bastard. The others could only nod at their brother's words. The three of them quickly rose into the sky. Shoggoth, it's time for you to swallow your words, brat, it's time for us to teach you who the true gods of this planet are, while looking at Issei with superiority. Dagon, it is true that those who call themselves gods are only false. They are only people who are carried away by stupid advice, or they cannot do anything because if they do something the other factions would take it as war. Those gods only hide in a stupid desk full of papers. They are only political figures. Unlock the power of AI. Sponsored by Amazon Web Services, AWS. Download our free ebook to discover how to democratize, operationalize, and build trust in AI. Learn from industry leaders and transform your business with cutting-edge AI strategies. Read more. Tsithagwa, if they were gods they would be here fighting, but they are not just hiding, they are cowards. These supposed gods only care about their own well-being and do not care about others. Issei, it's true, but you forget something. All that effort, you say they do it for something. Since being a god you have to see that they do not lack food, a house, that's why there are paperwork, and that they are cowards. It's not true, because I am a god, the god of dragons. I am their king, I am their caregiver. I would give my life for them and their family. I would give everything for them, and they would do the same with me. I make sure that they do not lack anything. I know that I was not there when they were, since I did not know anything about it, but that I made it easy. The place that my grandfather gave me in the Dud, I gave it to my dragons as a home, and they accepted it. I gave them a house. I gave them food. I cured their wounds that they have done to all the dragons. I became a rival to all the factions that harmed them. I would defeat all the factions for them and kill every god that harms them, and that is what I will do with you. Do not deserve to live. Speak ill of the gods as if they were not perfect, and you are worse, you who want to see chaos in the earth, and I will not allow that because I want my children to live in peace and I can live in peace with my women," while looking at the three seer that were in heaven with hatred. "Dagon, you're talking pure shit. We are perfect, we are gods, and they are just shit compared to them, and it's time to die." The three who were in the sky raised their power to the limit. By doing that, a mark appeared on their face, a mark of a purple tentacle. When that appeared, their power rose, slightly surpassing that of Issei. Issei was surprised by such quantity that emanated quickly dodged a blow from Dagon, but it was luck since he did not see the paw that Shoggoth gave him. That paw sent him flying Legos. But Tsathoggua was already waiting for him, who grabbed him by the head and slammed him on the floor. Issei could not scream that he felt how they dragged him all over the ground until they lifted him by the hair. Coming face to face with Tsathoggua, Issei could see that he had a mocking smile. "Tsathoggua, we were told you were going to kill us, haha. Those were just meaningless words of yours," while the other two laughed at Issei. "Issei, I planned to do it, but you could close your damn stinky mouth. Don't you see that I get dizzy with your bad breath?" When he said that, the others laughed at Tsathoggua while he got angrier than he was. Issei was going to say something, but he was silenced as Tsathoggua buried his head in the ground and then lifted him up to throw him towards a wall where he remained embedded. Issei slowly got out of the wall since he didn't see that combo of attacks coming. The brown-haired boy was going to speak, but he couldn't since he felt a blow when he saw how Dagon had his fist embedded in his stomach. Issei spat out golden blood. Dagon took advantage of that and kicked Issei in the ribs, something that sent him flying. Issei felt like several of his ribs had been broken, and out of the corner of his eye he saw how the three of them were preparing an attack. Issei quickly used his wings that he had on his back to protect himself. Minutes before, in the Dut, everyone was watching Issei's fight. Anubis was very serious than usual. The other leaders were worried about Issei as they saw how he was surpassed by the three beings who were talking, and the bad thing is that they heard everything was something that they were angry at, since they were only political figures and could not do anything since the other factions would react badly and go to war with other factions, and they did not want that. Issei's girls were worried about him since they had feelings for him, and something they wanted to tell them, but they did not have the courage of the other side. Was the groups that came to Kyoto to help were already recovered from the battle and were seeing what was still happening with Issei, while with the ex-girls they were worried about their ex-husband. They still wanted him by their side since they were very sorry for what had happened to him, and for their sons they tried to see their children, but they found dragons that were protecting the entrance to their children's room. They tried to force their way in but couldn't, as more guards came to get them out of the castle, so they had no choice but to leave, very sad as they couldn't see their children, something that affected them a lot, and they couldn't hold back their urge to cry until they saw how Issei tried to defend himself from the three beings that Issei was fighting, something that didn't work as they outnumbered him. In the fight, Issei quickly covered himself with his wings. By doing so he didn't suffer much damage since the attack that the three beings sent caused a huge explosion, creating a huge smokescreen, something that Issei took advantage of to fly towards Dagon to give him a huge blow to the stomach. Dagon was surprised since he didn't imagine that Issei would come straight towards him before he hit him. He narrowly dodged it. He saw a right hook coming and quickly ducked, leaving Issei's guard open, something that Dagon took advantage of to give Issei a strong blow to the stomach, something that made him writhe in pain, falling to his knees to the ground. Dagon gave him a tremendous blow that sent him flying towards the same wall. Issei, upon hitting the wall, spits out some blood, quickly wiping away the blood he spat out. Issei leaves the wall and gets into a combat stance. But before he lunges towards his opponent, he puts energy of destruction in his fists, and quickly heads towards Dagon. This one, without knowing that Issei had energy of destruction in his fists, he lunges towards Issei, a grave mistake since when their fists collide against each other, Dagon's fist disappears. Dagon, damn you, how dare you do this to me, to a god? Or rather to your god. He said this with anger as Issei made his Dagon fist disappear with the power of destruction. Issei, my god, don't make me laugh because you are not my god. You are such a disgusting being that just looking at you disgusts me, and I was thankful that it was only your fist because next time it will be you completely.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.